Hello gamers, this is Cyrus coming back at you on Rise of Kingdoms. Today we're going to be talking about how to develop your commander marches into a little bit more effective of a weapon. So we're going to go in and we're going to talk first about how to develop what's called a rage engine. And if you know how the commanders use their active skills, in fact we'll just go here. The rage requirement is 1,000 for per activation. So with Ethelfled, for instance, she's going to do this attack once they reach 1,000 rage. You're going to get that on your basic attacks, but you're also going to get that based on some of the talents that you have selected, and then there's occasional heroes that have skills that will increase that. Today specifically we're going to talk about talents, and then we might go over a couple of the skills that certain commanders have that will give those additional boosts, to give you an opportunity to really take advantage of how your commanders are set up. One thing to take into note is that the primary commander, or the commander that's in front, that's the only commander that's talents and gear, as well as troop capacity, are going to matter on. So your secondary commander doesn't add any of those. The only thing that they're going to bring in are the skills that they have. So your primary is going to be completely useful, everything they have about them, their skills, their talents, their troop capacity, and their equipment. All of that's going to take effect into the march. Whereas your secondary commander, you are only going to get these right here. Alright? So let's go ahead and start talking about how to develop that rage engine. There's two really good trees, tree being one of these different categories for that particular design for setting yourself up as a rage engine. The support tree and skill tree are the two best ones that I've seen so far. And what they're going to do is they're going to provide you additional rage based on certain circumstances. So if you look in the support tree, like Ethelfled here has, the first one you're going to see is Burning Blood. So normal attacks grant an additional 9 range. So every second, this commander is going to generate an additional 9 range for those attacks. And then as you progress a little further down, this is one of the go-tos on both the support and the skill tree. It's Rejuvenate. Actually, both of these talents are on those trees. And so what this one does is it instantly restores 150 rage whenever a skill is used. Now this is 3 points into it, which is really what you want to do. So out of that 1,000 rage that you're going to need, 150 is automatically given back to you right after using your skill. Obviously that's a huge deal, right? You're going over 10% additional rage just for having used it. Now I believe that this is also in effect for your secondary commander. So if your primary commander uses this, has this talent, then when they use their ability, you're going to get 150 rage. A second later, your secondary commander will use their active ability, and then you'll get an additional 150 rage there. If so, you're just under a third of your rage from using your skills in the first place. So obviously that's a huge bonus. Alright, when you consider the fact that they are providing all of that extra damage, all of those extra effects, the rage generation is going to be a huge benefit. So with the support tree, you're really looking for the Burning Blood and your Rejuvenate. And both of those are fantastic when used together. If you have these available as a decent commander, and you're going to want to look at what else they have available for them, or there's active skills, then this is a fantastic tree to go down first, because it's going to give you the biggest bang for your buck when you're out in the field. Now, over here with Sun Tzu, oops, that's the wrong one. I always do that. Having a talent tree called skill when there are skills in the game. Go figure, eh? So here we have the same thing. We've got Burning Blood again. And then over here we've also got Rejuvenate. Alright, so both of those are pretty solid. This is a slightly less powerful Rejuvenate than the one we had on the support tree. So this is only going to give you 60 rage whenever a skill is used. And you're going to get 9 per attack on your Burning Blood. But skill also allows you to get this one. Now this is pretty deep in the tree. You have to have everything else except these outliers. This one right here and this one right here just to be able to unlock this. But what you're seeing here is you're going to get an extra 100 rage when it's fully tapped out. And you're going to get that on a 50% chance on a normal attack. So every second you're going to get an opportunity to get that additional 100 rage. Obviously, when you stack that in with Burning Blood and you stack that in with Rejuvenate, you can really get to chaining those skills and almost get it to where it's one right after the next, which is very, very high value. If we go back to Ethelfled over here, you will see that I've also got some points up here in leadership. If you take a peek at what we're looking at, Hidden Wrath is another one of those whenever you're being attacked. So with Ethelfled, she's generally speaking going to be a targeted march. So she's going to get that. Now, if you're just using her for peacekeeping and you're running out killing barbarians, this still has high value because she's an AoE. So what you're going to do is you're going to hit more than one unit, and each one of those barbarians is going to give you that 6 rage every time they attack you. So that builds up when you consider that you're also getting Burning Blood going, you're also getting Rejuvenate going. You have a really solid core for the use of your active abilities. I've also got healing herbs over here because I have her frequently tagged in with another peacekeeper like Boudica or Lohar who provide heals. So those are really the biggest bonuses that you're going to get when it comes to rage generation. You want to take advantage of that as much as possible because, as you can see, the first or active skill, depending on which way you want to look at it, is almost always going to be better than the remaining skills that you have available. So if you have this one going off frequently, she's doing 800 direct damage to up to 5 targets. That's a huge amount of damage being pumped out there. And that's obviously damage factor, not direct damage. That is changed based on the amount of troops and level and all that jazz. So you want to make sure that you're getting that ability off as frequently and as quickly as possible. And that's going to give you a huge boost to your overall damage, overall sustainability, and give you just a little bit more oomph with your marches, right? There are other trees that you can use. Obviously, just on her, you've got leadership and peacekeeping. I'll be going into peacekeeping in one of the future videos so you have a better understanding of how to take advantage of those barbarian killers. And then leadership, you'll also have archery, cavalry, infantry. You can see integration. Versatility is another yellow tree. So each of these trees we'll be discussing in future videos and what they're really good for. But the core and the most valuable one that you can pretty much use across all bases with the exception of gathering is going to be the support, that skill. Those are going to be your real heavy hitters when it comes to giving yourself a leg up in the combat situations. So if you do have a commander that has access to these talent trees, and it's within reason, right? You don't want to put somebody this, like, I actually started off with Pelagius as one of my primaries because he had that skill. I had Herman as well. Those were my 2 first commanders with this account. And they're good. There's nothing wrong with these commanders in the early game. I mean, they obviously get swapped out heavily later on. But that skill tree really allowed me to take advantage of the abilities that they provided early on. And by doing that, I was able to level my guys up faster, keep them on the field longer, and make more experience than average because I was able to take advantage of those chains like we discussed in the previous video. barbarian chains, that is. So, with that in mind, I just want to go ahead and let you guys give a quick recap on this. When you're looking to put together a commander march, your commander that's talents are going to be relevant is only going to be the primary commander. So whatever you have as your secondary commander, it doesn't matter what their talents are. This gives you a lot of leeway. We'll discuss that when it comes to putting together full marches or full armies in another video. But you're looking for that skill or that support tree to give yourself a foundation for rage generation, and then you can capitalize on the other trees as you develop your commanders. And that'll give you longer lasting, heavier hitting commanders. Once you get to that 3 mark, you could throw 3 stars, you could throw an additional commander in the march. And then you can really take advantage of that additional rage generation. So keep that in mind. Make sure you're looking, when you are going into those skill trees, the relevant skills, or skill or support tree that is. The relevant talents are going to be your Burning Blood and your Rejuvenate. As you can see on Pelagius, I was still working on putting together a decent deal. I went down the Cavalry tree to get Undying Fury, which is another one of those rage generators in the Cavalry tree. So you have a lot of rage potential with this particular commander. I just never developed him that way. This was before I had really any kind of clue as to what I was doing in the game. And you can see how I did not optimize this. This is kind of looking at abilities and going, oh yeah, that sounds cool. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm all about going out and experimenting and taking a look and seeing what you can do. But if you're looking at getting that early value, that strong output, without a whole lot of investment, then I do highly recommend the skill tree and the support tree on your talents, and that'll give you quite a leg up. So take that into consideration when you're putting your marches. Make sure that if you do have a commander that has those and you've developed them a little bit, go ahead and put them as your primary. Throw somebody that either has a strong solo attack or a AoE behind them, if that's an option, and use them as you can. With all that being said, this was Cyrus. You guys have a wonderful day, and good hunting.